Hi everyone, today we are out here in our orchard on the farm and we'd like to show you today our setup for coddling moth traps and lures.
Okay, so we're trying to do a couple of different things this year. One of them is noted by this wire right here. I've got this wire run all the way around the orchard, and the idea there is to put the coddling moth trap and the lures at the elevation that they need to be to capture before they land on the top part of your trees. It's important that this height needs to be 8 to 10 feet, and so this conduit is 10 feet tall. So you can see our tree is about probably 12 feet tall this year. And so what you got here is this strip right here. It's new technology for the leaf curler hanging. It emits pheromone to confuse them, and so that the males leave as the females inadvertently lay eggs onto your apple tree, or to back up a little bit, they lay their eggs down in the ground, and that's where the male will fertilize the eggs, and then they'll hatch into larvae and they'll crawl up your tree. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But as we go forward, what we're employing here now is this trap. It has a female pheromone lure inside and a sticky pad, so that when the male coddling moth goes after that, he gets stuck on the sticky pad. So this is not necessarily the only way to control coddling moth, but it's a good start, and it gives you an idea when they are in your neighborhood. Unfortunately, they will eventually show up. So it's kind of a litmus test on when they actually hear.
Is there any significance to the color?
They are attracted to the red. That's why they're red. But that's a couple of the ideas that we've employed this year. As we proceed this way a little bit further down, this is actually another leaf curler, and it travels on this line in the wind and basically waves in the wind and emits the scent of the female leaf curler.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like the wire. It's very unassuming to the whole orchard.
well, it allows you to put the actual disruption strips where you need them, up at the elevation. That's the key. Most of these
awesome.
dwarf trees aren't 10 foot tall, and so they descend from basically these large trees across this way here and descend into the orchard. This is a good example. I've tried this pulley arrangement here with some aluminum electric fence wire is what this is, and the idea there is to minimize you can see the bend in this conduit as it is keeping the tension on the wire, but the idea there is to equalize all the tension in the rectangle that we've got all the way around the orchard employed.
Here's that bend in the conduit again. And the barn cat. Hi, buddy.
So that's what we're doing for the coddling moth and the leaf curler. This thicker strip is for the coddling moth. You can see that is substantially thicker than the leaf curler.
Yes, it is.
So they weigh a little bit more. I've hooked it straight to the pole to where it doesn't weigh down the wire as much.
That's awesome. So there you have it. It's pretty simple, but it really, we're trying this out so that we can get ahead on the pests for this year in the orchard.
And so now let's talk about the treatments for pests down below, because all of the larvae the eggs get laid by the female down here or into the cracks of the bark, and then the male coddling moth or the leaf curler fertilizes them. So one of the other methods we talked about, making disruption strips and the traps as they're flying in. Now we have to protect ourselves for the larvae climbing up the trees. And so the common way to deal with this is to use a very good tree wrap. It is kind of a paper product, and the challenges with that are to keep it on the tree, as in our area we have more rain than other parts of the country, and as you can see, the rain eventually takes it and washes it right off the tree, and so it ends up on the ground. The other challenge that we have here on our farm is keeping the grass around these trees from coming up and allowing the bugs to lay their eggs and grow their larvae at the base of the tree in that tall grass. So you got to keep this trimmed down every week so that it's not a good hiding place for them. But anyway, that was our first attempt right there, was this tree wrap, which we held on with packing tape, and then we painted the Tanglefoot insect barrier onto the tree wrap so that you don't paint it directly to the bark itself.
And this is some pretty sticky stuff, so you don't want to put it right on
Very
the bark,
sticky.
right?
That's why it's in the bag. And if you put it on your bark, you can. Unfortunately, it doesn't wash off very easy, and it can be a mess. So that's why you try to do something to mitigate the mess at the tree.
Mm-hmm.
So this time we are going to employ a good old farm trick here. We use this on our horses and goats. It's basically a elastic vet wrap. It's cheap. You got it on Amazon. But we're going to try and put a wrap of this around there and put the Tanglefoot honey, if you will, onto this vet wrap as a means to hold this there. The idea is that when the eggs hatch, the larvae crawl from the ground, and or any other insects like ants and beetles and all the kinds of things that aren't really good for fruit trees, it will stop them too, right at this sticky. And so this will stay on there, hopefully a little bit longer than the paper in our area.
That's great.
Can hold this right down here at the bottom. Don't want to have it too awfully tight and get all the stretchy, but we want it to be able to stretch as the tree grows. So this is really soft stuff, and so
it clings to itself, and it's typically used obviously for injuries on the animals, but we're gonna try it for the trees this time, because it's elastic and it will cling to itself, and it will hopefully last in the rain.
At least last longer. I like the way it fits nice and tight too.
Yeah.
As far as it doesn't have the gaps as the paper wrap does. When you wrap the paper around, you've got actually gaps that the bugs could actually get down in between.
Oh yeah, I see
but
that.
This seems to go on a lot tighter and a lot closer to the tree, and we'll try to spread some of this sticky. I should have my disposable gloves on right here because I hate sticky, but
it snuggles up to that crack there just fine.
So remember, you want to put this sticky stuff only on the vet wrap and not in your hands. Unfortunately, that's almost impossible to do, but as you can see, it's very sticky. It's a organic vegetable product. It's made for this. So
we let it sit out in the sun for a little bit too. It helps get it more soft.
Yeah, so you just, you're going to end up having to goober it on there.
Oh yeah.
And that's probably a little bit too much. And I can see that this vet wrap is pretty grabby. The sun will actually make it probably run off of this a little bit. So rather than put it top to bottom. Maybe we should just try to make a ring of this honey around here.
Here you go.
Or at the upper half. How about that? And that way it'll kind of ooze down the tree and create an insect barrier. And not let those little buggers get up the tree and ultimately into your blossoms and then ultimately into your apples and hatch and then leave you with a wreck of an apple. Nobody likes biting into an apple that that's been visited by a coddling moth larva.
Oh, good. You can see that over here really good.
So I think if you put this maybe on the upper half, you want to make sure you're continuously always. You don't want to give them a pathway to get around, and then when this quits being sticky or ends up full of insects, which I know it will, as you can see on this paper.
Oh yeah,
While
you
it
can
was
really
up
see
there,
that in there.
it caught a lot of bugs while it was employed. There's the tape that got wet and caught some ants and whatnot.
Ugh.
So we'll just completely make a ring around this tree at the upper part of this vet wrap, and there's an ant trying to get up it already. So we don't particularly want to have insects up on our tree, so we're going to make them get stuck in the sticky. So this is another method to try to protect your fruit, because if you've ever had an infestation of bugs of any kind, it's not good. So
We don't want that.
I think I pretty much got it wrapped all the way around there now.
I see it. It looks good.
It looks like it's staying on pretty well, even with the goop on it. So again, this is just Tanglefoot. Tanglefoot insect barrier is what it is, and hopefully that does the trick.
So as you can see here, we finished putting the Tanglefoot all around the trees on the vet wrap. We finished doing that this afternoon, and hopefully this will work much better for us when the rain comes. So thank you all for joining us today. If you have liked this video, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. And also tune into our podcast, the Repose Ranch Podcast, streaming now wherever podcasts are available. See you next time.